We're back, motherfuckers.
We're back.
And for those of you who are not fuckers of mothers, we're still back. I want everyone to feel welcome here at this channel, regardless of motherfucking status. And motherfucking status. In the end, oh right, Cannon just took one for the team. That's alright, he'll be revived in the Golden Land, probably.
Go down to the comment section and please like, comment, subscribe to pay respects.
F's for Cannon. In the end, Cannon... Oh, also, in advance, I apologize if my voices are off today. My throat is very, is a bit sore and raw from unrelated things, so I might not be able to do all the voices I usually do. I'm sorry.
I'm sure it will be delightful nonetheless.
In the end, Cannon-kun did not regain consciousness, even though Dr. Nanjo and the rest did all they could to heal him. Of course, there was very little that could be done on an island like this without medicine or proper facilities. However, Cannon was the only human ever to confront the culprit. If only he could give us some kind of clue. However, at the time they carried Cannon away, it was already too late.
Unless it wasn't.
Well, may have been revived in the Golden Land. My sincere apologies. Without proper facilities, there's nothing I could do with such a serious wound.
No, that's perfectly understandable. Thank you so much for giving it your very best.
Dr. Nanjo's shirt had been sprayed by a violent spurt of blood, so it was easy to imagine the devotion with which he had tried to save Cannon's life, up until the last second. Jessica was crouched in the corridor, crying softly. She had probably been taking care of Cannon-kun until the moment of his death. George Haneke tried to approach her with words of comfort, but when Jessica pushed him away, he stopped trying to force her to talk and left her alone. If only I hadn't let Cannon-san go alone. Oh. Do not let that bother you. If you had been with him, you probably would have been attacked as well. He foolishly rushed on ahead and paid for his mistake.
How can you say it like that? Cannon-kun spotted the culprit and bravely stood up to them. If only Kumasawa-san had gone with him, the culprit might have hesitated and chosen to run away.
Dick, I get you, Jessica, but time and a place. Emotion-filled words that I never thought I'd hear coming from Jessica's mouth tumbled out. Kumasawa, looking truly sorry, could do nothing but hang her head. Jessica.
You shouldn't talk to her now. It's the same for me, and probably you as well, right, Battler-kun?
I don't know, George. You've been weird to me ever since my voice changed. Suddenly and inexplicably.
We don't know what's going on, and it feels like our hearts are going to split open.
There were tears in George Haneke's eyes again. Seeing Jessica break down crying probably brought back the pain of losing his parents. I'd done my crying all at once, so I didn't feel like crying anymore. However, I understood how great the pain in their hearts was. It's okay, Jessica. You'll be able to meet Cannon again soon.
Stop it. I don't need you trying to console me like that.
Beatrice will resurrect the dead and even love that has been lost. She'll definitely be able to meet him again soon. Then everyone will be able to live in peace.
So, the one who killed Cannon-kun, is this Beatrice who supposedly gave you that letter yesterday? Where is she? Where's she hiding? I'll find her and tear her apart. Tell me. You know who the culprit really is, don't you? What do you know and what are you hiding? Tell me, damn it!
Speaking of which, this might be a good time for us to just quickly check up on the, How you doing, Cannon? Oof. Yeah, that's rough, buddy.
Yeah.
Why don't we take a look at... so we're up to 5th Twilight now, or 6th?
I think we're on 6th, because Cannon was 5th.
Cannon was 5th, okay.
Kinzo was 4th.
Yep, okay, cool. So we're on to... So someone's gonna get stomach... Ugh, nailed to the gut.
Exactly, exactly.
And then... So, hold on. 1, 2, 3 more. Wait, none shall be left alive on the 9th night. What? Well, what's gonna happen to our POV character?
That'll be interesting, huh?
Yeah. I noticed the kids have gotten off scot-free so far. We've only got so many more adults left.
Yeah, who will be the first of the kids to die?
Shannon was roughly the same age as George, so...
Yeah, to be fair, the kids...
And Cannon.
Shannon and Cannon were kids and did not get off scot-free.
Or
it's
kids
only the rich
by
kids.
this game's definition of kids. But yeah.
It's only the rich kids that get
Damn
off
it.
scot-free, like real life. Anyway.
That's privilege for you.
Let's roll.
Oh my god. I suspect Natsuhi's gonna make it to the end of this.
Really?
The witch tried to go for her and she didn't get her. I suspect, I don't know why I think this is the case, but I suspect that means she's in the clear now. She already had her chance. She stood down and lived. So, I think Beatrice is gonna give her a wide berth. Milady, please stop.
Beatrice exists. This is definitely the time for me to be doing this.
Damn it, let go of me, Genji-san. Maria knows who the culprit is. And she's hiding their identity even though she knows. She must be telling them what we're doing, guiding them as they kill us. Jessica, be silent.
Jessica grabbed at Maria. Genji tried to stop her, but Jessica could not be calmed. The next thing I heard was the sound of Aunt Natsuhi slapping Jessica's face. Excuse me. After that, only Jessica's sorrowful, sobbing voice resounded throughout the hall.
Maria-chan, I know there's no way you're the culprit. Oh god, Maria-chan's the culprit.
He's laying out a pretty good case for why she can't be.
You've been with us since the beginning, and there was no time for you to communicate with any culprit aside from that one time. So, I want you to tell me something. This Beatrice, who handed you the letter yesterday, who was she? I ask, expecting a different answer.
I was gonna say,
reason.
this is the sixth time we've asked you. I don't know why I'm expecting a different answer this time, but maybe. Although these words seem kind, they clearly showed that George still had some remaining doubts about Maria. He didn't actually grab at her. However, he felt exactly the same way Jessica did. Aniki. I already asked her the same thing a second ago. Her answer was the same as before.
I want to hear it from Maria's mouth. Who is Beatrice?
Even if I told you, you wouldn't believe anyway.
What do you mean by that? Could it be the culprit someone we know well? And you're keeping silent because you're covering for them for some reason? Who gave you that letter?
I got it from Beatrice. I see it no matter how many times you ask. Got the letter from Beatrice. George Oni-chan, do you refuse to leave in Beatrice because she's not an opponent you can hit? You want to turn your feelings of helplessness into violence and beat someone up, so you won't be satisfied unless your opponent's a human you can hit.
Capital H human, huh?
Weird.
So even if I tell you the truth, you won't accept it. So it's pointless for me to tell you. You won't believe. But I'll keep on saying it. Because it's true. Beatrice exists. The door to the Golden Land will soon be opened. I'll go there. Beatrice promised. In that word, Mama is nice, Papa is with us and also nice. I want to go there right away. Everyone is afraid of Beatrice. That's only natural. So calm yourselves. Beatrice said so herself. By the time the typhoon has passed, I'll have ended everything, she said. Ouch.
Maria, I don't mind you being talkative, but let's leave it at that for now. I bet this is all a pretty happy situation for you since you're always going on about how witches exist. But keep that to yourself for now. Don't try to force that on other people.
Also, why can I keep hearing the quotes around exists when you speak? How do you do that? Please explain.
It's really difficult. You just kind of pick it up over time.
I know I've been creeped out for this girl for a while now, but there really is something wrong with her.
All right, hear me out. She's possessed by Beatrice.
Yeah?
Maria is.
Yeah?
That's it.
Makes sense.
End of theory.
All out.
Okay.
Don't you think so too, Battler, Genji-san? Kumasawa-san? What about you, Mom? Maria knows who the culprit is and she's hiding it.
It is kind of fucked.
Okay, maybe she hasn't done anything directly, but she's definitely working with the criminal and not telling the literal truth. That's right, she's a spy. We can't let her stay with us any longer. Maria-chan, you must realize there are times when indiscreet discussion is best avoided. If you keep adding oil to the fire, even I will get very angry.
That mean no snackies.
None. None whatsoever.
Not even gummy bears.
Okay, one or two.
Well, in that case, I'm just gonna keep doing it.
Fuck.
Aunt Natsuhi glared at Maria with frightening eyes. Maria was used to Aunt Rosa's loud style of scolding, but she apparently had a built-up resistance to Aunt Natsuhi's quiet sort of scolding. She shrugged and kept her mouth shut. A desolate feeling filled the room. It felt as though things would just get more complicated if anyone spoke. How many people have already died? 6 people in Dad's group. After that, both Aunt Ava and Uncle Hideyoshi, Kanon-kun, grandfather. There were a whole 18 people on this island, and supposedly, and 10 of those people have been killed. Oh wow, we're past the halfway point now.
Yeah.
Holy fuckles. That's more than half of us. And right now, there's absolutely no proof that the remaining 8 people will be safe. Definitely says everyone's gonna die at some point, so...
Sure does. At any rate, this is no time to quarrel.
I'm just gonna shoot you all myself and take care of it from now.
Now that we are certain the culprit can enter and leave the mansion at will and strike out of nowhere, we must give our undivided attention to surviving until tomorrow.
Not a bad idea. I agree strongly with Aunt Natsuhi. Even though your voice is so damn different, Badly.
Yours is too.
We can figure out who the culprit is at our leisure tonight. For now, though, we're better off finding a place to barricade ourselves in. As I said this, I pointed out the clock to everyone. It was already 8 o'clock at night. We had been receiving shocks over and over again since early morning, and our bodies and minds were both completely tired out. There's still a long, long time until tomorrow. We need to find some place to barricade ourselves in so we can rest our bodies and get even the... I went ahead already because I'm an idiot. Smallest amount of relief. Everyone is already pushing their mental and physical limits, myself included. I believe we'll be wise to take that into account as we move forward. That's right. There's a high probability that the enemy's got the equivalent of a master key.
Or a master chief.
No, that's not yet.
Were Shannon, Kanon-kun, and Goda-san holding master keys?
Well, yes. They were supposed to have them on their person during work. We didn't want to disturb the scene, so we didn't investigate that closely. We can't eliminate the possibility that someone stole a key from them.
In the first place, we know the culprit may have visited the servant room at some point to unlock the garden shed shutter.
Oh.
It's conceivable that they obtained a master key from there earlier on.
There were many servants serving the Ushiromiya family. Because of that, there were several master keys. Furthermore, every time one employee started or finished working, the keys were passed between servants, and we had to acknowledge that this had probably gotten a bit sloppy at times in the past. Even they borrowed a bundle of keys from the pockets of one of the murdered servants. Is there any safe place that even those keys couldn't open? Because of the nature of our job, we've been entrusted with keys to all of their rooms. All of them in the mansion and the guest house. Except for the one room that Natsuhi knows about.
Is that room the Golden Land?
Is it?
Probably not, but maybe.
Well, I mean, he's hiding the gold bar in there.
Yeah. So in other words, no matter where we hole up and lock ourselves in, it'd just be pointless.
I'm surprised no one has devoted themselves to trying to solve the epitaph at this point. Because they said explicitly up front, like, that's the one way out of this.
Yeah, fucking solve it.
I guess.
Fine, who cares about locking up? If you're gonna come, bring it on, damn it. I'll beat you at your own game.
Umineko if Jessica had a gun?
We've already established that a literal child would be dead by this scene if that were the case, so...
Okay, fair enough.
The enemy won't approach us from the front. I don't know about the first 6, but if we look at what happened to my parents and Kanon-kun, and even grandfather, the enemy has only gone after isolated people. They don't have the power to assault all of us openly in a secure room, I say, dooming us instantly.
Good thing their universe runs on mystery novel logic. That's right. It's just like Aniki says. Maybe Aunt Natsuhi's rifle can serve as a deterrent to stop them from attacking.
I hope that is so, but...
Maria, I know you want to say something, but keep it to yourself and stay quiet for a while. Maria probably wanted to say something about how witches aren't afraid of things like guns. But if she were to say it out loud, the atmosphere around here would start getting pretty edgy. I noticed and decided to put a stop to it. If I may, I do know of just one place that cannot be entered even with the servant key rings.
Where is that?
You know where it is. That would be the master's study.
I'm against this. I don't even want to think about going in grandfather's creepy room.
Wait, really? Oh, 'cause right, he locks it from the inside.
And the one key that Genji had was the only one entrusted with a key to get in there.
Yep.
And Natsuhi has that key now, right?
Did he give the key? Yes, he gave the key to Natsuhi. I wonder if she gave... one of the two of them currently has it, so...
How many keys can gain access to that room?
There are two. I always have one on my person. The other was held by the master himself, but just now I found this on the corpse in the boiler room. Genji-san took a handkerchief out of his pocket and opened it, showing us the burnt and filthy study key. Then he showed it alongside his own key, which he once lent to Aunt Natsuhi. Normally it would have been proper to leave the master's key for the police. Because of the master's orders to protect the safety of the study, I borrowed it for the time being.
Interesting.
Sure. Which means that Kinzo-san's study is the only place where we can be safe.
It would appear that way. I don't even want to think about being shut up in that strange room all night.
Really? It seems like it has amenities and stuff. He said he had a bathroom and was there a kitchenette or something?
And lots of liquor.
Yeah.
But it appears we must acknowledge that his room is safer than anywhere else right now.
Except for that one room you know about.
Can she get in it?
No, but they know where her husband's body is. I mean, just saying. Even though grandfather locked himself up in that safe room, the culprit brought him out and killed him. We can't be certain that's truly safe.
According to your theory, grandfather cleverly found a way around that receipt trick and left the room of his own free will. If so, the room might be a good place to barricade ourselves in after all.
You're too optimistic, Aniki. However, at the same time, I thought he brought up a pretty interesting point. After all, this gives us a chance to question the enemy, the witch herself, about how the sealed door had been opened. We assume the culprit used some technique to kidnap grandfather from his study. They'd have to show us the same trick again if they wanted to assault us in the study. And that gives us a chance to make the culprit prove how they did it right before our eyes. She's really a witch, we'll be forcing her to use her little magic trick to open the door right in front of us. That's probably impossible. Spin the chessboard around, it's obvious the culprit is acting in a way that'll make us think they're a witch. She really is a witch. All she's got to do is appear in front of us and wow us with a colorful display of magic. Since she's avoided doing that, everything must be the work of a fake witch who wants us to think she's real. Therefore, a culprit who used a technique other than magic to defeat the closed room couldn't open the door before our eyes. Is grandfather's room big enough to stuff 8 people in? Yes. There's a bed, sofa, and blanket, so while it is not luxurious, it would be more than suitable for spending the night. Also a sink, a bathroom, a refrigerator, and a liquor cabinet. There's like a fully fucking stocked apartment up there.
When I say liquor cabinet, really, it's more of a liquor wall. Really, more of a liquor room.
So he has a cellar in his attic room for liquor is what I'm getting at.
And you can't have any.
You sure? I think I might die tonight. Whoa, that's incredible. Sorry, I don't know what happened to my voice just then. But isn't that weird? You're saying he built another house inside his house. That's pretty cramped for at least the last house of someone like our grandfather who bought a whole island and realized all of his dreams.
That's right. After some point in time, Father probably couldn't feel at peace in any other place, even inside the mansion. We always sneered about how he shut himself up in there, and this time we're the ones who are gonna shut ourselves up.
Jessica spat the words out.
Jessica-chan, it sounds like you'd rather go search for the culprit than stay shut up somewhere. Of course, I don't think we'll be able to find them if we just start searching on our own. In the end, we can't do anything but wait. Then it doesn't matter where we wait, does it? I'm not gonna run away or hide. Why don't we just take it easy in the parlor, watching TV or something while we wait for this Beatrice-sama to appear? It's perfectly fine if she doesn't appear. There's no need for us to be the ones who expose the culprit.
Well, sure. But sometimes I realize rush before the police arrive.
Dr. Nanjo, it is getting much more and more difficult to understand you.
Thank you, Dr. Nanjo. I think we should move to Father's study. True, we have no proof that it's safe since Father was taken out of there. However, I can't deny the possibility that, as Batlakun reasoned, Grandfather left the study of his own accord and was attacked outside.
I'm still stuck on, like, why she thought to put the receipt in the first place. What did she know?
Yeah. Everybody knows
that's-
more than they're letting on.
That's the one thing that's really bothering me about it. Like, everyone's logic seems very sound so far, but it feels like they're all purposely forgetting that point. But I don't know what they do with it at this point. It's just... A while back, I proposed that strange theory as a stopgap measure. But just as Aunt Ava said, even though that trick would be possible, I couldn't explain what motive could have made Grandfather sneak out of his own study in such a troublesome way. Plus, Grandfather couldn't even have used that trick unless he knew the receipt was wedged in the door.
Here we go. Here we go.
Why is it every time I bring up something,
It comes up instantly.
Aunt Ava hadn't pointed out that last part, but it's clear how absurd the theory was. Does that mean the sealed door formed a closed room just as Aunt Ava claimed? Is it an undeniable fact that Aunt Natsuhi was the culprit? If Aunt Ava were here now, she'd probably make that claim openly and blow my strange theory away. But anyway, I had to admit that a room with both a bed and a toilet that all 8 people could be shut up in, and with only 2 keys, both of which were gathered here, had to be the safest place in the mansion right now. At the very least, I figured this would be better than just staying shut up in the parlor and hoping nothing would go wrong. Wait. Have we been safe only because we've been shut up in the parlor? What if leaving that room and moving to an unexplored location is actually more dangerous? That's useless. It's useless. It's all useless. My flimsy head is about to break out in a fever. I keep spinning the chessboard around right and wrong. We'll keep switching places over and over, and I won't be able to believe anything. I like how we're seeing Badler coming to the end of his own wits here.
Yeah.
When it seems like the culprit is one of the 18, I want to believe in Beatrice. And once I start believing in Beatrice, I start wanting to find the culprit amid the 18. That keeps spinning around forever. In the end, my thoughts won't have taken one step from where they started.
It's almost as though both theories are wrong because Beatrice is amongst the 18. I still think my initial, episode 1 theory, episode 2 theory that Beatrice is amongst the 18.
Yep.
And is an imposter. I'm still on board this
Has anyone
train.
seen Beatrice vent? I mean, that'd just tell you right there. Has anyone seen her doing any tasks recently? Saw her sitting on O2 for a while before she cleared it, so maybe... How far back in the past was it that Kirie-san taught me about chessboard thinking? That concept of examining the situation by spinning it around and thinking it from the enemy's side. I seem to remember being so interested in it by back then that I used it to guide all my thinking. By the way, Kirie-san was Dad's co-worker back then. I never dreamed that she'd someday be added to our family. I also like how Badler's confronting the necessary flaw of his favorite logical maneuver.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is helpful and can help you gain some great insight. But if you keep doing it, you just spin around in circles forever.
Yep.
Didn't Kirie-san tell me something once? Just once. She only told me one thing at one point in time. Never anything. get the feeling she said once that while this chessboard thinking was one way to look at things, it certainly wasn't all powerful, and it wouldn't be good to rely on it too much. What voice did we give her?
I don't remember. I'll
go
be
for it.
her. Chessboard thinking is my own interpretation of something called a game theory, which I read about on YouTube long ago.
That sounds just like a theory. This is back in time, so my voice is back like this again.
It's a very interesting subject, so you should tackle it yourself when you get into college, Battler-kun.
Okay. I really want to try it. If I could study and perfect my chess... Oh, that's you.
No, that's Battler.
If I could study and perfect my chessboard thinking, it'd be fun to be able to read into any opponent's moves, wouldn't it?
But you can't believe in it blindly. Game theory is a very deep and complicated subject. In fact, it's a type of math. So you'll probably suck at it, Battler. Chessboard
fair.
Yes, it is. Chessboard thinking is just my interpretation that skims the surface of game theory. In order to thoroughly read your opponent's moves like you're imagining, you need to study your opponent. And mathematics. Additionally, while chessboard theory is convenient and practical, it isn't perfect.
Alright guys, I'm back from my mind trip. Someone give me an algebra book. I'm gonna crack this case wide open.
Your voice went back.
Oh, whoops, that's my mistake. I was still in my past for a moment.
It has many weak points despite its convenience.
Weak points?
Yes.
Like big glowing eyeballs?
Chessboard thinking is founded upon game theory. When you thoroughly investigate game theory, it boils down to math. Do you know what the weak point of math is? It's noise.
In math, when you write 1 + 1 = 2, that process will always result in 1 + 1 = 2. No matter how many billions of years pass, nothing more, nothing less. That's because there's absolutely no noise mixed in. But, for example, unlike math, the Japanese language has noise mixed in. Kanji are a good example. Old kanji and new kanji are slightly different, which represents an introduction of noise created by the changes between time periods. Isn't history the same? There are dozens of policies that seem foolish in the modern era but were meaningful at some point in the past. Because the rules of chess are fixed, when a pair of experts are discussing one particular layout, it's possible they could reach the same conclusions whether they're from 100 years in the past or 100 years in the future. However, if the rules of chess had gone through massive changes over time, it's possible that a discussion about the same layout would have changed as well.
That's right. Events in the world of humans are normally full of noise.
I just realized you could single-handedly ruin the entire market for chess books by just introducing one rule change into chess.
But people done that bunches of times, never caught on.
But what if I wanted to do it specifically to ruin the chess book industry?
I will fully support you.
Like, from now on you can tap your rooks to get 2 mana.
Aren't human emotions that way? Even if the exact same thing occurs more than once, there's no guarantee humans will always act in a predictable fashion. The moment we try to use a math-based theory to predict someone's actions, economists, we must be aware that our theory has built-in weaknesses and limits. Simply put,
economists.
Simply put, chessboard thinking is extremely weak against noise and fickleness, as well as mistakes or incorrect knowledge.
That's right. Kiryu-san definitely said that, and I'm only just remembering it now. Chess has always been a game where both sides play by the same rules and fight with the same conditions for victory. That's why it's possible for both sides to predict the other's moves. It's possible to read your opponent because you can always suppose they'll make the best moves they can find. But what if your opponent is fickle or a bit tired and makes a move that can hardly be called the best? Or what if this game actually has a special rule, some unknown thing that only the enemy knows about and can use? In fact, what if the opponent actually has some goal other than victory? Think from your enemy's perspective. That's the basis of chessboard thinking. Which means if you misread your enemy, the answer you draw from this process will be complete rubbish. Useless. So far, I've used chessboard theory to guess several vague bits of information about the culprit hiding behind the case, or so I think. However, I don't think I know anything about the culprit. Am I just playing around in a labyrinth of thought? If Kiryu-san were here at a time like this, she'd probably be able to notice something with her much, much sharper thinking ability. Yep. Until the very last moment, Jessica resisted moving into grandfather's study. But in the end, Aunt Natsuhi persisted, and we decided to move there. Nevertheless, Aunt Natsuhi persisted. Everyone was completely wrapped in paranoia by now. Kumasawa-san had prepared dinner at one point, but during the time we were discovering the death of George Anaki's parents, the kitchen and the parlor had been left empty. Someone suggested that the food might have been poisoned while we were gone. Because of that, we were unable to even touch the food that Kumasawa-san had taken the trouble to make for us. The manner in which the first 6 were killed was still unknown, but it certainly could have been poison. Certainly that would allow for even a single person to carry out the murder of 6 large adults. Furthermore, this idea made it easy to imagine there might being only a single culprit, one who'd be afraid of Aunt Natsuhi's rifle, and this was very good for our emotional stability. But the fatigue and hunger were even harsher than we had imagined. Then Kumasawa-san made a proposal, and we all went together to the kitchen. There we gathered some canned food and other things that'd be hard to poison to take in with us. All of Kumasawa-san's efforts reward us with just a little dinner on this savage day regrettably came to nothing. The food piled up on the serving cart looked just a little sad. Rich people problems, am I right? We all started climbing the stairs. Aunt Natsuhi was in the lead, warily stared into the darkness with both eyes in the barrel of a gun. Once we dragged ourselves up to the 3rd floor, just as Aunt Natsuhi had warned us of beforehand, there was a mixture of chemical smell and a sickly sweet aroma, a stench hanging in the air that felt like it was eating into our heads. See, the stench would probably give you a headache if you were shut in with it for a whole night. I know it's a little late, but I'm with Jessica. I vote against going into grandfather's study. I felt like the stench was floating out from this magnificent door. The door to the forbidden study which should defend against any who would enter. Well, Genji-san unlocked the door. Maria stared at the door with the doorknob with great interest.
Yeah, incredible door.
Looks so old and strict like it'd stop any jokes cold. Perfect door for grandfather's study.
The power to ward off spiritual menaces is strong here. Beatrice probably couldn't open the door.
Okay. That changes a lot about what we assumed.
Maybe.
That definitely means that he left the study of his own free will at some point through some unknown way. I'm kind of trusting her read on Beatrice here. But if that read on Beatrice is true, then he probably left the room of his own free will somehow.
Wanted to see Beatrice again and died happy.
There you go. I mean, I guess the window, right? What does that mean? Maria pointed at the doorknob, a scorpion crest. No, a design like a magic circle arranged around a scorpion was inscribed there. That design. That's right. Isn't it just like those little keychain charms Maria gave Jessica and me yesterday?
This magic circle of Mars is a strong ward against magic. Additionally, this magic circle was very diligently constructed, and is full of power. Such a magic circle can be quite troublesome to beings of magic like Beatrice.
Isn't that comforting? You're saying we can escape even Beatrice's clutches in this room? Our little witch here sure is reliable.
Our little witch here sure is academia.
Jesus.
Then how did Beatrice get grandfather out?
Why do I think I have an original thought? Why do I think, like, oh, this is a neat little observation. I should just shut up and let the game handle it 2 minutes from when I think I'll have it. Jesus fucking Christ.
Just as bad a reason. Beatrice can't go inside. However, she has both magic and familiar.
Oh.
Using them, she might have been able to get grandfather to leave the study of his own accord.
Familiars. That's new.
Is it new?
Yes, I think.
Or is it, I mean, like, I assumed something like that would be in her wheelhouse.
I mean, maybe, but this is the first we've heard it explicitly confirmed that Beatrice may be able to act
via familiar.
indirectly.
Okay, fair enough. I've read about that in manga. I've seen a bunch of scenes where vampires were frightened of crosses so they couldn't get close. But their familiars were just fine, so they made their familiars attack.
The scorpion keychain charms they gave you yesterday also had the 5th magic circle of Mars on them. The powder dwelling within them was weak, but they should be enough to protect you until we leave the island. Although it sounds like you lost yours, right?
Scorpion keychain charms? Yeah,
Is Aunt Natsuhi finally going to put two and two together?
yeah. The charm I gave you yesterday was something I got from Maria. I heard it would repel magic if you put it on your doorknob, and at the time, I thought maybe it'd be better if you had it.
Wait, did Battler lose his?
He claims he did. We don't know.
When did he claim he did?
When Maria was claiming Battler was safe only because he had the keychain, and he was like, well, sucks to your witches because I lost my fucking keychain and I'm still fine, so fuck you, Beatrice, you're
Okay.
powerless. But we have not seen him lose the keychain. We don't know.
If he might just be lying about
He
that
might
to try
actually still have
to
it.
try to put Maria off her game.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Is that so? I thought it was an odd thing for you to be carrying around.
Yeah, Natsuhi put that on her doorknob?
Yes. Last night, after hearing about it from Jessica, I hung it from the doorknob on the inside of my door.
Then Natsuhi, you're really fortunate. If you did that, Beatrice couldn't even lay a finger on you yesterday. I think Beatrice must have been really annoyed.
Beatrice annoyed. Couldn't lay one finger. Natsuhi thought back on the eerie scribble she'd seen on that morning, as though someone had been tearing at the outside of her door with blood-soaked hands, and gasped in surprise. Could it be this witch who called herself Beatrice tried to enter through the door to Natsuhi's own room? But the magic-repelling charm had been hanging from the inside, so she couldn't break through the door to the other side. So she was annoyed. So she scratched at it? You gonna share any of that with anyone?
Quit it. Don't talk about that. Witches don't exist. The culprit does, and they're a human just like us. If you need proof, why don't we dice her up and see if her blood's red?
I like this really angry Jessica.
Yeah. Damn it. How could you do that to Canon-kun?
Click. Genji unlocked the door. 8 people entered Kinzo's study. 9 people left.
Ha ha ha.
8 people enter. 9 people. Wait. Grandfather's study. I'd heard rumors about it beforehand, so I wasn't that shocked. He had done nothing more than fortify it thoroughly with his occult hobbies. Grandfather's hobby had been chasing after pop idols. These walls might be buried beneath idol posters. Even I didn't understand it. Even if I didn't understand it, I did realize that this room was a bundle of all his pastimes. Even so, I couldn't help but remain dumbfounded by the smell of his creepy medicine and the sweet stench that seemed to melt my head. Yep. When the doors closed, it automatically made a clunk. I see. This is the auto lock that's activated whenever the door is closed.
No, that's the auto clunk. The lock is silent.
What does the clunk do?
Just what it says on the tin.
Oh.
He was very insistent.
Okay. And there were only 2 keys that could open this door from the outside, both of which were in this room. In other words, it had become a closed room. The shutter, the receipt, the chain. And now the auto lock. This 4th door had the most magnificent lock yet, and this was doubtlessly a closed room. So, who's going to wind up dying while everyone sleeps? Or what noise is going to happen to try to drag them out of there, huh?
Ah.
Whose voices are going to be faked to try to drag them out of the room? Just to make...
Or is Beatrice in the room now? Amongst the remaining 8.
Oh, I see what you're getting at. Yeah, because they did just open the door, which kind of defeats the purpose of the seal, I guess. Just to make absolutely sure the room was secure, we checked all over for ways in or out. The window was tightly locked. Should have been enough, but just in case we tried knocking all over the walls. After all, we had talked about there being a hidden door in this room. But we couldn't find anything suspicious. Grandfather's study was very large. Even though we called it a study, it wasn't really a single room. It could be divided up into 4 basic sections: a study, a bedroom, a toilet bathroom, and a section for cooking that had a sink. See, the study really does have enough in it to live in. Now I see how Grandfather could live his whole life in this room without ever leaving. It seemed grandfather wasn't in the habit of watching TV because there was no television or even a radio in this room. We can't do anything except pass the time listening to the sound of the rain till tomorrow morning. We could be reading the books on black magic.
Or getting blasted.
Dr. Nanjo looked closely at the chessboard that sat on the table in front of the sofa and muttered. It's apparently the partly finished chess match he'd been playing with grandfather until yesterday. The black had the white pretty well cornered, and it looked like checkmate would be reached within a few moves, the last part of the endgame. Even though checkmate had almost been reached, the endgame had been rushed, and the end was never completed.
Kinzo-san, I think we weren't able to see this match through after all.
Dr. Nanjo. I was Kinzo's son's friend for a long time, but I never knew about more than half of him. I believe two Kinzos existed, a wise one, the one trapped by some madness. I never understood anything about him.
Especially when it came to Beatrice-sama, it seemed like his personality changed.
In the direction of Kumasawa-san's upward gaze, a portrait of Beatrice could be seen. It wasn't like the massive one hanging in the entrance hall, even though we're using the same CG, but small, made for this room. Grandfather probably spent every day in this room and so much of his time talking to the witch in that portrait. Who was Beatrice to grandfather in the first place? Right now, you couldn't just explain it away by saying it was a story made by the parents to frighten children away from wandering into the forest. While eating the canned food we'd brought from the kitchen, we talked together about who Beatrice was. Whether the culprit was Beatrice herself or someone pretending to be her. Whether they were a witch or a human, that was beside the point. The woman in this portrait was strongly related to the roots and background of this case. You couldn't talk about this case without talking about her.
That's right. Mom, you picked up the culprit's letter in Aunt Ava's room, right? Yes. I still haven't opened it.
Oh, right, that fucking letter.
Let's give it a try.
This was the one in Aunt Ava's room from so fucking long ago. I had legitimately forgotten about it.
Me too.
Aunt Natsuhi took out that western envelope. Genshi-san pulled a paper knife out of the drawer in the study desk and handed it to her.
Be careful. It's made of paper. I don't know why we use this knife.
While watching her open it, George Aniki grimaced slightly. After all, it was a letter left at the site where his parents had been murdered. There was a good chance its contents would say something unbearable to Aniki. Aunt Natsuhi also seemed to realize that, so she glanced over the contents first without reading it aloud. We were a little frightened that she might grimace after reading something shocking, but she just frowned unhappily.
What does it say?
There is one unpleasant sentence. It must be trying to provoke us.
Natsuhi, after deciding the contents could be shown to the children, set it openly on the table. Everyone stared at it at the same time.
Praise my name.
Praise it!
What the hell? That's annoying.
Are you gonna show us the letter?
It's probably Beatrice declaring herself the victor. It'll tell us. Oh, wait, it's already here. The witch's letter too. Even though we haven't read it yet.
I'm not. We'll hold on. But I wanted to see what the praise was because on the third Twilight,
those who remain shall praise my noble name.
Oh, and this was left at when those two died. So I guess that kind of fits.
Yeah, I guess.
I'll allow it. I'll allow it. Just this once.
Okay. Damn it.
I bet you were hoping for another weird magic circle to show up.
It wasn't a magic circle, but my expectations haven't been betrayed.
Why do we permit the creepy child to be here? I've got sleeping drugs. We could anesthetize her and just... Am I wrong to be suggesting this? We're all thinking it, right? What could that mean? I wonder if she wants to tout her own existence.
That seems reasonable.
Praise it. Praise me. Praise me.
With this letter, we now know that the author of last night's letter is the culprit. I think the identical envelope is more significant than what is written here.
Without a doubt, this is the type of envelope and sealing wax that the master used.
I don't know what's going on anymore. This is the first time I've seen anything like this since I started working for the Oshiromi family.
Are they going to read it aloud first, or do we just...
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sure.
Okay. Going by last night's letter, Beatrice is claiming to be grandfather's oldest confidant. Grandfather often said the same thing in the past, right? Spoke to Genji-san and Kumasawa-san, who nodded together. Guess that means you two know more about her than anyone else except grandfather. Could you tell us?
For a long time, I've purposefully avoided this topic. But now that it has come to this, I can no longer do so. Genji, tell us everything you know. What if they don't read us the letter?
Genji-san didn't... Do you want me to just read it, since we have it? And if it comes up in the thing, we'll skip it?
Yeah.
Because they're already discussing it, so it feels weird.
That's all it says.
Oh, that's all it says.
So they did already read it. Praise my name. Praise it.
Oh, that's literally all it says.
Yep.
Okay. I, in my naivete, assumed that was one line of it. No, when she said there was one provocative line, she meant that was literally it.
Yep.
Okay. Fine. Genji-san didn't answer. Did he remain silent despite his knowledge, or did he click the button to move on too early? Or did he know nothing at all? Still, I had a good guess. The ghost story of the witch Beatrice had long been deified among the servants. He had probably been very close to grandfather in his occult hobbies. So there was a good chance that he'd been indoctrinated with even weirder things, and had increasingly come to deify the witch. Damn, that's so hard to sight read. As grandfather's most trusted servant who had sworn to loyalty to him, he might be the most influenced by the illusion of the witch that grandfather had created. So there was only one reason for Genji-san to remain silent. He could speak, but it would definitely cause a backlash, so it was better if he kept his mouth shut. It wasn't like we'd believe him anyway. Something along those lines. A short while ago, Maria had been more than willing to speak bluntly and unrestrainedly, and that had earned her a scuffle with Jessica. It was natural for Genji-san to keep his silence.
Although he would probably win against Jessica.
If the two of them fought, I'm just saying, I don't know why that would come up, but, just, if, Genji was fighting Maria, then I'd probably, 9-1 odds on Genji.
I don't know.
I'm giving
Maria's got a lot of weird shit in her purse.
Exactly. You can't counter out, but, unless she's got, mace in there.
We don't know that she doesn't have a gun.
Bear
also.
tranquilizers. Is her her little pocketbook is it hammer space or what?
Was she father's concubine?
His concubine? That could be possible. Wow, even my inner thoughts got the drawl going. For ordinary poor people, polygamy isn't only viewed negatively from a moral perspective. It's also an unmaintainable financial situation. But that isn't the case for the very rich. It is possible for them to have another lover in addition to their real wife. We can't deny the possibility that grandfather had another woman in his life besides grandmother. Okay, this game might show its age just a little bit. You gonna read your line or just stare at it?
Maybe.
Well, yes or
That's
no?
the line.
I need you to commit.
Maybe.
Tell me
when grandmother was alive, I hear she was pretty sure of it, that she was alive. Wait, no. What she was sure of is that she thought he was cheating on her. I always figured she meant a witch that grandfather had imagined up, but...
Now this is getting really interesting. You told me, didn't you, Genji-san? Said Beatrice has been working for grandfather since before the mansion was finished.
I heard that the construction of the mansion was completed in Showa 27, parenthesis, 1952, close parenthesis.
Thank you for adding that in, Aunt Natsuhi, but I believe most of us knew that already. But I appreciate the added context, just in case someone else was listening in on our conversation.
That'd mean this person called Beatrice was in a relationship with grandfather since at least 30 years ago.
Could that concubine of 30 years ago, or maybe a relative or hidden child with that person, hold some kind of grudge and be planning revenge? I see this is starting to sound just like your standard Western mansion mystery. Yeah, I hadn't considered the thought that Beatrice might have been in that position with Kinzo, but that doesn't shake out with how she's been characterized.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We'll see. It's a filthy topic, but the easiest line of reasoning to accept. What do you say, Genji?
I believe the master was indeed in love. Those feelings were certainly stronger than what he felt for his late wife.
Who is this person called Beatrice, and what's she doing now? I got so angry it froze the game. This happens to me sometimes.
Jessica, you need to stop getting so angry that you close the game. Your mother and I have talked to you about... I just phrased that in a weird way. I meant both your mother, and then separately, I have both talked to you about... that she passed away before the mansion was completed. She's already dead. Yes. The master was deeply stricken by grief, and he devoted himself to the art of black magic as a means to revive her. Master loved Beatrice Sama from the bottom of his heart. It was that madness which drove him to do all that you see here. Hold on, let me just check on something real quick. I was mistaken. I thought he was talking about his wife. Beatrice passed away before the mansion was completed?
Yeah, that's what we're hearing.
Interesting.
As Genji-san said this, he spread his arms as though asking us to look at this room, filled with the signs of grandfather's madness.
T-pose to exert dominance.
I will now T-pose to assert my dominance. Be frightened. Be cowed. Be awed by my T-pose. We were all at a loss for words, parenthesis big aura. Normally, black magic seems like it'd just be creepy, and it's really hard to imagine why someone might be so enraptured by it. Since Kinzo was just an eccentric who had restored the Ushiromi family amidst his madness, nobody had tried to understand him. The only thing on grandfather's mind had been the loss of a beloved woman, and his inescapable sorrow. Earlier, this room had seemed creepy, but in an instant it had changed to something we could understand completely. The creepy books, the magic circles, the medicine, all of it. It all existed simply because he wanted to revive the face of a single woman who had left this world over 30 years ago.
Master only told me about Beatrice Sama's story once when he was very drunk, although I have forgotten the details. It was a deep, deep love, enough to make a woman like me jealous. Ooh! When Kinzo-san succeeded in the headship of the Ushiromi family, his marriage to the late wife had already been decided by the few surviving family elders.
So, he was forced into a marriage with some woman who would benefit the Ushiromi family?
That's exactly what I just said. He just forbidden my will back to me at this point. Kinzo-san had installed the head who revived the family, and had to bury her in charge with a heavy responsibility.
Guess it'd be rude of me to say any more than that, huh? That was when grandfather truly fell in love for the first time. Just how deep was his affection for her? That was easy to see just by looking around us. This room was covered with piles upon piles of things having to do with black magic, and grandfather spent every day shut in here, immersed in his research and isolated from the outside world, never regretting 1 minute of it. You couldn't help but recognize the depths of grandfather's love for Beatrice.
I had it all wrong, Genji-san.
Yes, you did. I mean, what do you mean by that?
I always thought that maybe you servants believed blindly in the witch because you'd gotten brainwashed by grandfather and his creepy black magic stuff. Well, that's not how it was, right?
Had they begun soothing grandfather's tortured heart, acting as though Beatrice's soul had at least been restored and existed inside this mansion? Though Genji-san closed his eyes, wearing the expression of one remembering the distant past, he said nothing further. He probably felt that making such a confession would be the worst sort of betrayal against his one and only master, even though that master was already dead. Interesting. That didn't seem to be the vibe we got from them when Battler dropped in on their kitchen conversation.
Yeah, sure didn't.
Beatrice has revived as a witch and exists in this mansion even now. Genji had said this, had believed it, and had made people believe it, and would follow through with that decision to the grave. This might have been the last service he could offer up to his master. The legend of the witch, the mysterious tale of Rokkenjima that was still whispered amongst the servants. Its true nature was a sad lie. No, it was an act of kindness towards grandfather, who had lost the person he loved above all else.
I'm still gonna shoot her with my shotgun.
I remember denying the witch's existence in front of father on multiple occasions. Now I feel like kind of a jackass. Now I finally understand how much that must have wounded him, almost as much as this gun would have.
Not quite as much, though. I mean, this gun is mighty powerful.
Right now, I can understand very well. If I thought I could revive Shannon using black magic, I'd immediately become the next owner of this room and start... Wait. Pretend I didn't say that.
Wait, did you actually have a theory or you just...
No.
Okay, I thought you were just riffing. Okay. I thought you were coming up with a theory there, and I'm like... Huh.
He looks like Harry Potter. He could totally do magic shit.
Hey. In this house, fuck Harry Potter.
Yeah.
In this house, we support Little Witch Academia.
Okay, that's true.
Just imagine George on his little broomstick, hopping on the ley lines, getting... I've only seen the first episode. Don't spoil anymore, please. This is such a wonderful time. Aniki. Another strand of tears dripped from George's eyes. Maybe his tears were infectious. Tears rose to Jessica's eyes too, and she sniffled.
Beatrice has said it. Very soon he will be able to revive people. He'll be able to meet them, she said.
Very soon the door to the Golden Land will be opened. The promised land that glitters gold, the souls of all the dead will be resurrected, along with the love that had been lost. Then I will sleep in a world of peacefulness for all time. Did she say that? Beatrice gave you the letter?
You don't believe, do you?
If only grandfather were here. I'm sure he'd be happy. I'm sure he'd be jumping for joy now that Beatrice is about to be revived. In that case, I believe. Grandfather gave up half his life for this research, trying to resurrect the soul of a woman he loved, spending the rest of his life believing. I'll believe too.
Better.
Yeah, that's me.
When you love a single woman for so long, the people around you catch on to it, and it becomes the truth.
Have they just forgotten about the fact that, like, more people have to die?
No, I think they're very aware of that.
Okay. They're just all kind of like, yeah, let's just, yeah. Who's ready to death cult this shit?
No, I think they remember that they barricaded themselves in the one fucking room they think they might have some chance to be safe in, and they're still not even sure of that.
Yeah, okay, fine.
They're doing their damnedest. Maybe you could say they're just being polite for the sake of your feelings. But right here, now, I'd like to call that magic.
It isn't just being polite. It really is magic. She's a witch. Looks like nobody can see Beatrice after all.
Some time passed. As we listened to the sound of the rain, we considered what kind of love and madness must have possessed the owner of this room as he spent half his life here. I noticed George was going through a bunch of black magic books. Just taking notes, he said.
If you ask me as a woman, then while I'd like to be understanding of father's feelings of true love, it did leave mother in an awkward position. I agree. Cheating is cheating. No way to make it pretty.
Yeah, that's right. Gotta feel sorry for grandmother.
So, have there been any rumors about a child between Beatrice and grandfather?
Keyword Beatrice. AOL keyword Beatrice. Has been hidden in every corner of this case. Remember when AOL keywords were standard? Everyone gave out, like, all the advertisements would give the website, followed by their AOL keyword.
Yes, I do.
God, who uses AOL anymore?
Probably someone.
Probably Dave. Fucking Dave. It's always Dave. No, I've not heard of anything like that.
If there was one, a memento of his most beloved person, he surely would have given them all of his affection.
Yeah, that's actually very reasonable.
Since he ended up immersing himself in black magic instead, maybe we should assume that there was no such child.
Yeah, that's honestly very sensible.
Or, hear me out on this.
Okay. Hearing you out.
Is the orphanage related? He could have raised a child amongst his servants with them not knowing, or anyone else.
Right, maybe. But think about how old they would have been now. Oh, because Beatrice supposedly died like 30 years ago.
True, yeah, that doesn't make sense.
I don't think that matches with any of the. I mean, it's not a bad idea, but I don't think that's the. I don't think that's where they're going with this.
Okay. Well, anyway, come to think of it, that reminds me of a rumor I heard. You know it, right?
Plus, I thought he burned down the orphanage
What?
when he was trying to save everyone and be, like a hero of justice. Wait, no, that was Fate Zero.
That story about how grandfather heavily supported an orphanage called the Fukuin House.
Gee, why do we even bother?
But we know we know that we're thinking on our toes. We're not behind it. We're ahead of it. Even if we're just ahead of it by 2 seconds, that's ahead of it. Let's fucking go.
Okay.
Enough of that. That is nothing more than slander which would desecrate father.
Tell us on, Natsuhi. I think even you'd agree that this is no time to hide things from each other.
It's a worthless story. Father made massive donations to an orphanage and had the orphans employed as servants at the head family to give them some on-the-job experience. The story in question is simply some drivel spread by fools who claim that father was using those orphans for some filthy hobby. For a while... Wait, is this the same person?
Yeah, it's still Aunt Natsuhi, probably.
For a while, some guys even said he was collecting human sacrifices for his black magic. And he really is doing weird experiments and ceremonies in this room all the time. So I half believed it myself.
Okay, so this is a private study where he does tons of black magic stuff. How does he not have, like, a summoning floor? How is there not a part of his floor that is set aside specifically for drawing magic circles? Like, what's a good surface for that? Not concrete. You want something that would wash off easily, right?
Chalkboard.
Maybe? No. Onto the floor? No. Like, linoleum?
Maybe.
Oh, right, that's me. And these servants who came from the Fukuin house are? There are several of them, but Shannon and Cannon were the two scheduled during the family conference shift. To resurrect Beatrice, he brought in servants from an orphanage as human sacrifices?
After all, everyone grandfather selected as a servant was young, about the same age as Shannon or Cannon-kun. I was sure it was because grandfather had some bizarre hobby.
Yeah, because Shannon and Cannon would be way too young to fit that profile. Because if she died 30 years ago, she'd be the same age as, like, the adults.
Mm-hmm.
Roughly around the adults, so... And
yet, we are led to suspect some connection or something.
Yep.
Jessica, mind your words.
When Aunt Natsuhi scolded her, the atmosphere instantly went sour and everyone fell quiet. However, something was tugging at the back of my mind. Sacrifices.
To go?
Human... The lyric was meant to be to God, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I just think it's funny. It's like,
I just think it's
just
neat.
drive through. Hey, you picking up your sacrifices to go? Human sacrifices brought over from an orphanage. What is it? Big words like sacrifices don't pop up often. And yet I've seen or heard that word recently. I'm trying to think if I can remember it before Babbler gets there, but I don't remember where.
Was it the epitaph, or was it a letter?
It wasn't the letter. The epitaph says nothing about sacrifices. Oh wait,
Let's see. Nothing there.
It does.
Sure does.
Offer the 6 chosen by the key as sacrifices. It does. I just thought it was. I forgot it said specifically sacrifice.
Yeah, sure does.
All right. some part of my memory is tugging at me. Hey, Beatrice, what do you know? I had arrived in front of the portrait of Beatrice. It wasn't as massive as the one from the entrance hall, despite sharing a CG, but that portrait, which must have been hand-drawn by some famous painter, was still just as intimidating in this smaller size. Below it, just like in the entrance hall, was the epitaph that supposedly hinted at the location of the hidden gold. Ah! Sacrifices here!
What the hell, Battler?
I'm saying I found sacrifices!
You're creeping me out.
6 sacrifices. Ah! Both of my eyes were as wide as plates. Everything's been predicted right here from the very beginning. Yes. Yes. Sure has been. Everyone crowded around. And the same expressions of shock and awe rose on all of our faces. That's right. Right there in the epitaph, on the first twilight offer 6 chosen by the key of sacrifices. There's no doubt. 6 people died in the beginning. And even on the shutter where the magic circle was drawn, no, the Hebrew was written. Mentioned the offering of sacrifices.
I've been saying that from the beginning. Like, this is the one time where I wasn't being a shit about it, okay?
That's right, Maria said it at the start. Right after we found the 6 bodies when Maria was in the parlor watching TV, she said it.
Culprit isn't human. It's just the sacrifices chosen by the key.
The culprit isn't human. It's just... okay.
This has nothing to do with the location of the hidden gold. It's the instructions for a resurrection ceremony using black magic or something. After all, this epitaph requires a large number of deaths.
It sure does. Even reading through it quickly, there'd be 6 plus 2 plus 5, 13 people who must die. How many people are normally on this island? It changes depending on the shifts for the servants, but there's father, my husband, Jessica, and me, and 2 or 3 servants. Today and yesterday there were 5 of them, but there aren't normally that many.
Which means that normally there wouldn't be enough sacrifices to carry out this ceremony. No, wait. That's the rumor grandfather was collecting servants from an orphanage to be used as sacrifices of creepy ceremony.
So what does this mean?
So we had caught, it was pretty obvious that that the deaths were following the pattern of the epitaph.
Yeah.
It hadn't occurred to me to think of it not as oh, the entire thing is just a blind and it literally is just a ceremony, rather than, a battle of wits to be had.
I don't know. I think there's battles of wits to be had with regard to it.
That's the thing. I still think it is too, but because we haven't seen Beatrice yet, and we gotta get the witches out. But right now, Battler seems to be interpreting it as just a set of instructions for a, which doesn't seem like Kinzo's style. I don't think he'd be the person to lie about that kind of thing.
Dude's too fucking weird.
Yeah, exactly.
I could see him lying about it, but dude's too fucking weird to be that straightforward, I think.
Yeah, I think if he says no, this is a puzzle, you can solve it.
Yeah.
He probably means that.
So what does this mean? He increased the number of servants to increase the number of sacrifices?
Sacrificing to go.
And waited for the annual family conference when even more people would gather? Isn't now the only time of year this ceremony could be held?
When Jessica screamed this, Maria broke out in that creepy laugh, looking truly pleased.
Haven't you ever heard people making bets to test their fate?
Like throwing a sandal and saying if it lands right side up, tomorrow will be sunny. Or saying that tomorrow will be a good day if a coin lands heads up. There are many little superstitions like that. Sometimes when your luck is down and you get bored, you roll the dice and get 3 6s. I want to believe it's a potent of some miracle. When flipping a sandal, you have at worst a 50% chance. Even if you get it right side up, it's not worth much. But if you can carelessly roll 3 dice, and they all come up 6, you might think that's a small miracle.
Magic works the same way. You must pray earnestly for an extremely unlikely result. Then, the feelings from all this stored up prayers gain magical power and become incarnate. The magic that grandfather was trying to perform was probably like that. The key randomly selected sacrifices in a lottery. So to reduce the chance he himself was selected, he chose the day with the greatest number of people on the island to carry out the ceremony.
Ridiculous. Are you saying that this entire situation was caused by a mere ceremony for some bizarre magic?
Natsuhi yelled.
My yelling sounds suspiciously similar to my normal voice.
That's true, Aunt. You've always sounded like that. It's a known problem. None of us can tell when you're yelling. It's kind of weird.
I'm always yelling. Hollering up a storm.
Wait, so really none of them put that together before now? That was like the most obvious thing, though.
Yeah, we're ahead of the game.
Okay.
Are you smarter than a battler?
Are you smarter than a battler, Kun?
We are. Slightly.
At least for now. She couldn't quell the fear that the scorpion charm might be the only reason she was still alive. If I hadn't received that charm from Jessica... Oh, that's you.
What?
That's you. That's Natsuhi.
If I hadn't received that charm from Jessica and hung it from my doorknob, would I have been killed, mixed in along with those 6? And the strangest part is, even though I hung that charm from the inside of my door, they couldn't get through that door. Culprit noticed the charm from outside the door and gave up trying to open it. A human couldn't have perceived that. A charm meant to stop something that was not human had done exactly that. Impossible, impossible, impossible.
But Natsuhi-san, the Epitaph certainly does continue to fit even after that.
Oh, on the second twilight, those who remain shall tear apart the two who are close. Could this be talking about Eva-sama and Hideyoshi-sama?
Painful as it may be, we must reach that conclusion.
Okay. Hold on. Before we continue, given that they're going over exactly everything we've postulated about this epitaph,
Are we wrong?
it's making me feel like we might be wrong.
We'll see.
Because it's being played as like, oh, this is the obvious conclusion that the characters in the story are coming to.
That or it's the solution, and we achieved our goal of finding that solution ahead of when the story got there.
Oh, okay.
Both are possibilities.
Okay.
I don't know which I buy yet.
Okay. I'm just saying, like, if this were a normal game, and I don't think it is, that would be how they play it around here, and I'm like, well, then, no. And okay.
And after the culprit killed them, they left the words from the third twilight in a letter there.
That's right. To carrying out the second twilight, they left the third twilight in that place. Third twilight was just the aunt Natsuhi had read. In the third twilight, those who remain shall praise my noble name. You read it all this way, it just keeps going on, doesn't it? Although, if I'm honest, it almost seems like less like this is how it was meant to play out, and more like someone was structuring these to fit the description as best they could.
Maybe.
Because that's kind of a cheap way of invoking the third twilight there.
Yeah.
Definitely doesn't seem like there was any voluntary name praising going on. You just kind of left a letter saying, praise my name. It's like that doesn't seem like it really counts.
We'll see.
On the fourth twilight, gouge the head and kill. Gouge the head and kill. George Oniki's parents were killed with those demons' ice picks gouged into their heads. But if they were the second twilight, someone else must have been gouged in the head. His grandfather. He was burned in the incinerator, and our eyes were so drawn to that part we didn't notice. But his head had been gouged.
Grandfather was the victim of the fourth twilight? Then Canon-kun was...
This is so many twilights. Somebody stop Stephanie Meyer. She's out of control.
On the fifth twilight, gouge the chest and kill. We thought Canon-kun's case was an unexpected encounter with the culprit, but that's wrong. From the very beginning, they planned to lure someone out alone and drive something through their chest. If the culprit has followed the epitaph this far, does that mean 3 people still have to die?
On the sixth twilight, gouge the stomach and kill. On the seventh twilight, gouge the knee and kill. On the eighth twilight, gouge the leg and kill.
Yes, you could read it that way. Eep.
Well, I wonder about that. After those 3 die, it reaches the ninth twilight. Take a look. On the ninth twilight, the witch shall revive, and none shall be left alive.
We're all gonna be killed by Beatrice.
I don't get it. What does that mean? Everyone dies no matter how many people there are? What's grandfather after? Doesn't this mean the ceremony would kill him too, no matter what?
It's okay if no one's afterlife. On the 10th night, we finally arrive in the Golden Land. On the 10th night, at journey's end, you shall the teen bower to of the Golden Land treasures. Once and for the last time, the witch shall praise the wise and bestow 4 treasures. Grandfather wasn't afraid of dying. Look at the second and third of the 4 treasures.
One shall be the resurrection of all the dead souls. One shall be the resurrection of the love that was lost. So, grandfather believed he would eventually be revived, even if he died partway through this ceremony? Ridiculous! That's insane! When you die, it's over, right? People die when they're killed. The dead don't come back to life.
There's the episode title. There's the episode. I've been fishing around trying to pick one out, and like, no, we're finally using that one. That's finally gonna.
Isn't that a miracle humanity's been chasing after for thousands of years and still hasn't accomplished? So is this what it means? Something like you'll be able to meet them in the afterlife where they'll be restored?
Which? What you're saying now is right. Would that mean that grandfather, whose remaining life is slim and who's been driven mad by love, is committing suicide? No, a massive forced group suicide?
Genji.
Well, I'm not done
Genji.
yet. All right, no.
Is such a thing possible?
I don't know. The master is a man who sometimes has the wisdom to see 1,000 years into the future. However, there are times when that appears to be nothing more than madness to commoners such as myself.
Okay, should we take that for a yes? What do you say, Kumasawa-san?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know anything. Oh, that's right. I don't know. Oh,
No
do you think I would
thoughts.
be on this island today if I did know? Oh, I would have faked illness or done anything to take the day off. That's right.
What about your opinion, Dr. Nanjo? You've been grandfather's friend for many years.
I feel the same as Kinzo-san. Kinzo-san was a man who far surpassed ordinary people. I even felt there was sort of inhuman power from him at times. Even I don't know what Kinzo-san was thinking when he wrote that epitaph.
All we can say is that
Confusion will be his epitaph.
even if father did write this script, someone else is carrying it out.
That's right. At the very least, there's another culprit who attacked grandfather in Cancun. Furthermore, that person is still continuing the crimes just as the epitaph says.
The letter in the beginning that we didn't think deeply about. What was it that was written there?
We got back to the recitation of the letter last night. Beatrice had proclaimed something inside of it. She proclaimed that, according to her contract with Kinzo, she would collect everything of the Ushirome family as interest. But then she had also revealed a special clause. If someone discovered the location of the gold grandfather had hidden, that right would be lost. When the letter was read, grandfather was still alive. But at that time it had already been sealed with wax by the head's ring, which meant grandfather had handed the ring over to Beatrice while he was still alive.
We know that's not the case, right? We saw him toss it out the window, didn't we?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure that was his way of giving it to Beatrice.
Okay.
Like, I mean, that's what I took it to mean anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
It just seems that like what they're hypothesizing here is a different course of actions than what in fact occurred. They're hypothesizing literally handing over the ring to someone.
Right, which I see it as 6 of one, half a dozen of another. You know what I mean?
Well, I think
I mean, it's worth keeping in mind.
yeah.
If we take a straightforward approach, maybe we should assume Beatrice is carrying out that strange contract, with grandfather guaranteeing her that right. In other words, this was the same as saying grandfather knew of and approved of the contents of that letter. In other words, it's basically a joint message from Beatrice and grandfather, telling us that Beatrice will start collecting interest if we don't solve the riddle. In other words, grandfather and Beatrice were demanding that we try to solve the riddle of the they said that out loud. They literally stated that to you. What? Were
Do
we
people not make mistakes and misunderstand?
Nah. Nah. That's my answer to you. And if we couldn't, they were saying that the massacre would be carried out according to the epitaph. What does this mean? What do they want? I have a clue what it means.
Look, another letter from Beatrice.
How conveniently timed!
Are you just pulling these out of your purse?
Yes.
That's weird. How many do you... She's got like a library of them in here. There's like 50. Why would you need this many? Huh? What did you say? Maria was pointing at the top of the table where the canned food everyone had been eating just now still lay. Oyster envelope from Beatrice certainly was sitting there, but so what?
What in the... Sam Hale?
Thank you for playing it up. Aunt Natsuhi let out a hysterical cry, looking between her own hand and the table, because the envelope she had just opened was still grasped in her hand. So why was there still an envelope on the table?
What the hell? What's going on, Maria? Where did that envelope come from?
Just now I looked and it was lying there. You will?
I don't know anything.
Kumasawa certainly seems like Kumasawa's in big denial mode. This isn't funny. There's only 8 of us here. There's no way some 9th person snuck in. There wasn't enough time during the few seconds that we gathered around the portrait, right? Game?
Get back, all of you.
Oh, fuckles.
Back against the wall.
Aunt Natsuhi was pointing the rifle at Genji and the others, bellowing at them. Genji-san was overpowered, his face looking like he didn't have a clue what was going on. Of course I felt the same, but a few moments late I reached the same conclusion Aunt Natsuhi had. Until just a few seconds ago there had been no letter like this on the table, and nobody had entered this room. That means someone among us placed it there during the few seconds when everyone was looking away, preoccupied with the portrait.
Battle-kun, open that envelope and read what's inside.
Sure. I picked it up. It was still sealed with wax. Even without disturbing its contents, I realized that this was an as-yet unopened envelope, an unknown envelope. Without relying on a paper knife, I tore it open and pulled out the letter inside. The contents were as follows. Are you enjoying the riddle of Kinzo-san? Actually, do you want to read this?
Sure.
Because we agreed that if this character ever showed up, you'd get to voice them, right?
Eat.
Okay.
Are you enjoying the riddle of Kinzo-sama's epitaph? As you are all probably aware, you have very little time remaining. Please abandon any naive hopes of escaping after the storm passes. This game can only end with my victory or yours. When time runs out, I will win by default. There will be no ties. Make sure that you do not misunderstand your current situation.
That's what it says.
It isn't clear who put this letter there. However, I have been able to narrow down the list of suspects. It's you all. It's y'all.
It's fair.
Madam, that's just too horrible.
Just before I moved toward the portrait, I set a can of food down here. At that time, there definitely wasn't anything as strange as this letter there. Wait. Who's talking?
This is still Natsuhi, yeah.
Okay. And at that time... One moment.
Take your time.
And at that time, Jessica, George-kun, and Battler-kun were already in front of the portrait. And they didn't leave the spot in front of the portrait until the letter appeared. So, the person who set that letter down is one of you four.
She's currently aiming a gun in the vicinity of a child right now, right?
Yeah.
Just making sure.
Beatrice is here.
Ew, we aren't Beatrice. Beatrice exists.
That's interesting. Silence.
What, that she says we? Referring to... Oh, because she could be saying we as in like, hey, I'm being possessed by Beatrice, or we as in like the 4 of us.
Because she's explicitly claiming that my theory's false. That's interesting. We aren't Beatrice.
Interesting. Oh, yeah, that would be like that. That Beatrice isn't possessing or using one of them as...
Yeah. Silence. I don't know whether I should suspect one of you or all of you, but without a doubt, at least one among you is the culprit. That's right. There can't be a 19th person. There's no way witches exist. Even when Kanon-kun was killed, yeah, that could be explained if Kumasawa-san was the one who did it. The truth is that Kumasawa-san entered the boiler room with Kanon-kun and killed him. And then she lied, saying he had already fallen when she got there.
You're making a mistake, milady. Why would I do something like that?
I don't have the slightest idea how my parents were killed in that closed room, but when they were killed, everyone except for the servants had an alibi. The only ones who didn't were the servants. But does that really mean it's okay to suspect them?
Yes, now that you mention it, they have no alibi for any of the cases. Should we really be so quick to make that judgment? But this time, in this room, in this place, in this moment, in this minimally small bit of time and space...
Localized entirely within your study.
Only one of the 4 of them could have set the letter there in our blind spot. We can't tell who put it there, but it's obvious that one of those 4 did it. So they're narrowing the suspects list now to Nanjo,
Yep.
Genji,
Yep.
Kumasawa,
Yep.
and Maria.
Yep.
I once met a girl named Maria.
Master Hassan, please calm yourself. A lot has happened today. I understand how much strain is on your mind right now.
Dr. Nanjo, it truly pains me to call you suspicious. However, you are Father's personal doctor and his closest friend. You have been by his side for many years, and you might even know about Beatrice. Could you be hiding some kind of old obligation?
Of course not. Calm yourself.
It was pitiful to watch Dr. Nanjo frantically pleading for his innocence. It's probably a normal reaction that anyone would have give if they were suspected. Kumasawa was the same. Ever since Jessica voiced her suspicions of Kumasawa murdering Cannon, Kumasawa had been totally flustered. That's why Genji's still calm appearance looked so bold. Aunt Natsuhi pointed the barrel of the gun.
Genji, you were grandfather's #1 subordinate. Was Beatrice an illusion you showed to father, with you as the performer?
If by suspecting me you recognize me as the master's greatest servant, then I count it a great honor, regardless of the circumstances. However, I am not the one who put the letter there.
Do you expect us to just accept that? You must be the ringleader. Maybe Kumasawa and Dr. Nanjo are your accomplices. And Maria-chan, too.
Not content to just suspect the adults, Aunt Natsuhi had pointed the gun relentlessly at Maria, too. I mean, to be fair, yeah, I'd suspect Maria at this point of being somehow involved. Probably not doing the literal killings, but of being played by one of the adults somehow.
She seems awfully calm.
She does.
That's alarming.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, in any situation like that, I would definitely be suspicious of that because someone probably told her to do something and she's a kid. What's she gonna do, right? But Maria acts as though nothing had happened. Or maybe she thought she would be fine even if she was shot.
Maria-chan, by this point, we can no longer remove someone from suspicion just because they are young. So, for the last time, let me ask the question that everyone's had since last night. Yesterday, who was the Beatrice who handed you that letter?
You, boo-boo.
Maria, don't dodge the question. If you dodge the question, you'll have to dodge a bullet. Make it clear. Who gave you that letter?
How many times do I have to tell you? It's Beatrice, the 1,000-year-old golden witch. You want to know what she looks like? Just turn around.
Oh!
See? She's right there. Beatrice.
Don't mess with us, Maria.
Enough, Jessica. Maria, too. Don't you understand the situation? What are you hoping to gain by saying stuff like that? Stop stirring each other up pointlessly.
You don't understand. Who do you want the culprit to be? You only believe in Beatrice when you don't want to suspect one of your own. When you're trying to settle a grudge because someone who's close to you has been killed, only then do you want to believe in a human you can attack with violence and deny Beatrice. That's why you can't see her. Beatrice exists. Y'all can't see her.
Silence. I don't want to label you as the culprit, but there is no longer any doubt that you enjoy making this situation unpleasant and are providing assistance to the enemy.
Shoot the kid. No, that's that's a weird...
Walking that back.
Walking
that instantly back.
Okay, never mind. We're just gonna...
That was a weird chant you just had there. You want to commit to that one?
No!
Then what will you do? Shoot me? I don't mind. Very soon the door to the Golden Am will be opened. Then all the dead will be resurrected. Right now, death is nothing to be afraid of.
Mom, she really is suspicious. We can't keep her with us. But, Aunt Natsuhi, please calm down. There's no reason to shoot Maria. Please remain composed. The letter was meant to provoke us, but it's nothing to be afraid of. Even the culprit is scared of what will happen tomorrow. They're scared of the police. Right now, this island is free from the reach of the law, but that's only because it's isolated by this typhoon.
Not a bad angle on it.
once the typhoon passes, the law will return.
Because that letter could also be read as the person who Beatrice is trying to goad everyone to moving, because she can't get to them while they're in this situation. So if she has to try to goad them into moving themselves into a more vulnerable vulnerable place in order to continue going.
So you mustn't shoot. How can you stay so calm, George Nissan? One of these 4 is the culprit. No, maybe all 4 of them are working together. How can you stay so calm when one of these 4 might be the culprit who killed your parents?
Well, Jessica, we know for sure it's not all 4 of them. If the number of imposters equals the number of crewmates, the game would now be over. And yet, the game continues.
Even I have the desire to find the culprit and kill them. But that would be simple barbarism. And we are faced with a choice. Socialism or barbarism. I will leave the judgment of crimes to the law. So no matter how suspicious they are, you mustn't pull that trigger.
I feel the same as George Onegi. Natsuhi, get a hold of yourself for a second. Anyway, it'd be bad to shoot. In times like this, I hear you should tilt your head back and say, "Stay cool," 3 times.
Let me make this clear. Witches don't exist. Not on Rokkenjima, not in the Ushiromiya mansion. I declare it as Ushiromiya Natsuhi, representative of the Ushiromiya family. There's no witch here. I won't accept Beatrice. No matter what you're planning, I won't let you lay one finger on my daughter or the rest of them. That's my duty as a mother and as a representative to the family.
Those words were the final words of farewell that settled everything. To protect her daughter, Aunt Natsuhi would regard any suspicious person as her enemy. The only reason George Onegi and I were standing on this side was because, by coincidence, we had a clear alibi regarding the letter. If I hadn't approached the portrait, I would also be at the other end of that gun barrel, treated like a criminal.
Come to think of it, though, Aunt Natsuhi also does not have
right, but she has the gun.
She has a gun, which is more powerful than an alibi.
Exactly.
But she doesn't have an alibi.
Exactly. So, because...
Oh, why is that button red?
But even though part of me thought that, part of me was thinking that chasing all the suspicious people from this room would finally guarantee our safety. Genshi-san and Kumasawa-san and Dr. Nanjo, all of them were on grandfather's side. Maybe you could say that once Maria started blindly believing in Beatrice, she was also on grandfather's side. That's right, they're all suspicious. But is this really okay? If we throw out all the suspicious ones in such a lawless way, will we still have the right to defy the lawlessness of the witch? Well, yeah, because if they're crewmates, they can still do their tasks while dead. It's easier, actually, because they're ghosts and they can move through walls wherever they want. Aunt Natsuhi didn't tell them to leave with her own words. But with wordless pressure, she induced them to say that themselves. Because if Dr. Nanjo didn't say those words, this cold silence would surely continue forever.
Calm yourself, Natsuhi-san. Still, I understand your feelings well. I myself feel like there's something wrong with my head after all these strange repeated incidents. So I understand well why you want to suspect us.
If you really have nothing to do with this, then my actions now would be beyond rude. However, please understand, just this once.
Very well. Let's leave the room. What you say, Genji-san? Shall we return to the parlor and continue our chess game?
That is what you wish, by all means.
I don't want to. After all, that means we'll have to leave this room knowing that the wolf is among us, right? I don't want to, madam. Please forgive me.
It was obvious that Kumasawa-san was trying to say, but she was innocent and she was being injected into dangerous territory along with the culprit. And the current situation regarding urging her to leave this room along with the suspects was almost exactly the same as getting her killed. However, Kumasawa-san really was suspicious just for being the first one to discover that Kanon-kun had been murdered. At the time, everyone except Kumasawa-san had an alibi. Unless we could prove the existence of some contraption, or the existence of some 19th person, Kumasawa-san was by far the most likely suspect. I didn't want to believe it. However, Aunt Natsuhi and the rest of us were in such a difficult situation that we couldn't help suspecting her as well. We didn't say anything to stop Aunt Natsuhi from trying to oppressively chase them from the room. We had stopped her from shooting, but we were passively agreeing to chase the others out of the room. On top of that, Maria spoke to the fretful Kumasawa-san.
It's okay. Beatrice is kind to those who respect her. You believe that Beatrice exists? So it'll definitely be okay. I'll watch TV in the parlor. Let's watch it together. It's so boring here without TV.
It looked like Kumasawa found Maria's roguish laugh very frightening. However, the 3 other people had agreed to leave the room. Kumasawa couldn't fight the flow and had to agree, crying as she went.
And that's how we get the remainders to fulfill the remaining lines in the epitaph.
Yep. Wait, how many more is it that have to...
All of them, eventually.
Well, I mean, yes, but... we need 1, 2, 3.
And there were 4 who left the room.
Perfect.
It's perfect.
Perfect.
Well, I'm not sure, son. That will be all for tonight. Let us meet again tomorrow.
Yes. Please understand, at least for tonight. When the police come, all of us will surely apologize for our rudeness. You may play chess, but do it in a safe place if you can. Genji, I leave them in your hands.
Certainly.
It can't be helped, can it? Oh, they always say that the most frightening bears are those with their children.
Genji, Kumasawa, my sincere apologies. Let us meet again tomorrow. Maria-chan, too. Please forgive your cold aunt.
I forgive you.
Madam, the keys to this room. I will hand both over to you. Genji-san pulled 2 golden keys from his pocket and handed them to Aunt Natsuhi. And I will also hand over my bundle of keys to the inside of the mansion. He took out a bundle of about 10 keys of various shapes and handed it over. To the servants, those keys were probably proof of their position. Being placed in charge of those keys meant that they were trusted, relied upon. When they were forced to return them, it meant they had lost that trust. Thinking about it this way, to Genji-san, who had worked here for a span of many years, there could be no greater shame. However, Genji-san's usual indifferent expression remained on his face.
Genji, I had planned that after father passed away, I would reward you for your many years of hard work and allow you to retire. To treat you like this makes me feel ashamed from the bottom of my heart.
I have already received the master's favor. Everything I have done until today has been in repayment for that. Please do not worry over it.
Well then, shall we, everyone? Good night to you all. Have fun sleeping with the person with the gun.
Good night. Good night to you too, Battler.
Maria. Wait a sec. Knowledge of guilt made me call Maria back. I groped around in my pocket and took out that scorpion keychain.
Knew it.
This repels magic, right?
Fucking called it, he lied.
Wear it. You were right. You were right. He did it just to be a fucking pissant.
Not to be a fucking pissant, to try and bait out additional information. But
True.
Didn't you say you dropped it?
Back then I got ticked off and just bluffed that I'd lost it. There's no way I'd lose the precious charm you gave me. Maria silently took the charm. I was unable to say anything after that.
so everyone but Maria will die.
That's the notion. Well then, everyone, good night to you. For all eternity. We watched them leave and our expressions completely worn out, and we weren't even able to respond. Damn! Till the door closed and we heard the auto lock, we were unable to breathe. Then we were finally allowed to take a breath. After that, I noticed Beatrice's letter, which I had been gripping the whole time, which was soaked with my sweat, actually had 2 sheets. The paper had been tightly stuck together, so I'd mistakenly thought there was only one. There were no characters on the second sheet. The thing drawn here was a magic circle written with red ink like blood. Just like how every magic circle until then had been different, this magic circle showed the Triforce. One I had never laid eyes on before. Inside the circle, a large Triforce and a small Triforce were fit together. But just as before, there was writing in Hebrew, and it seemed clear that it held some kind of meaning. I wanted to know what it could be, but we had just chased Maria, the only person who could understand the meaning of magic circles, out of the room.
Ooh.
I thought of this magic circle as Beatrice's second message. What does this magic circle mean? Damn it. Chasing out all the suspicious people, all we had to do was stay barricaded here until morning. and everything would probably be over. Once the typhoon had passed, when the seagulls cry, will everything be resolved? But the letter which had unexpectedly appeared in the study forced us to reject that naivete. It made it very clear that, if time ran out, it would mean the witch's victory. When time runs out, is the witch planning to take on the offensive? This time, is she planning to display some fearful magical power? Maybe something that could have been used to kill 6 adults at once? Wait, when is time supposed to run out anyway? I don't know anything. I would probably do something with that magic circle, maybe.
We are in probably the most prominent black magic library in Japan right now. It's almost like you could find some useful info, maybe.
I don't know if they'd have enough time or research and know how to get it that quickly, but
they know it's Hebrew.
They do.
That probably doesn't help much.
They know it's the Triforce. Or I mean, I was thinking more like maybe you just slip that under the door and out of the room real quick, and not in there with you.
With this, we should finally be safe. Finally. Definitely.
Even as she said that, Aunt Natsuhi couldn't stop gripping that rifle. There was no release in the tension of her expression. Of course, none of us felt like breathing a sigh of relief, at least not until we could hear the cry of the seagulls once more. Nice.
So I really have to wonder...
That clock is huge now. Was the clock always that big?
I don't know. So I really have to wonder about the one scene where the cursor got red instead of the usual white. Have we seen that before?
Yeah, it's used that as a narrative thing a few different times.
Okay. I was wondering if it was something like, when the cursor's red, is Beatrice manipulating the character in question?
Ooh.
I don't know.
That's not a bad thought, though.
But it seemed like things suddenly got different then. I don't know.
We've seen it a few times before, and I thought it was just a narrative thing, but that's worth keeping in mind.
Is this the load screen or the...
Oh. Hey, we did it. We saved a fucking game. Join us next time. We'll see who's alive, I guess.
It's Maria.
It's gonna be Maria. Absolutely gonna be Maria. I can't wait till Beatrice shows up. I really want to see her.
Yeah, she seems pretty swell.
Which.
Smash that like, comment and subscribe.